What's happening, everyone? TomGorian here. Welcome to episode number 12 of the F124 Alpine to Glory. Today we are going to go around the Singapore Grand Prix circuit in Marina Bay, a rare track in these career mode races, considering I don't really race around this track all that too often. Check out the previous video. In the Italian Grand Prix we were fighting against both McLarens for a spot on the podium, and check out the playlist so that you're all caught up to date in the F124 Alpine to Glory career mode series as we reach the end of season 1. As you can see, we have a lot of upgrades on our car. We are 5th in the constructors and I am 4th in the drivers, behind Lando Norris by 18 points or 28 points with only 5 races to go. There's the races left. We've got Singapore in today's video, Mexico in the next race, and then Brazil, Qatar, and also Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen has a 27-point lead in the championship, so he really needs to get his head in the game if he wants to win a 4th World Championship. Starting with this video with the specialist upgrades, we only have 3. We have the Power Unit Consultant, the Manufacturing Expert, and the Material Fabrication Planner, as well as the Strategy Analyst, and 8 championship points during this race weekend. That is a bit possible, so we can do that as a team. We've got some acclaim going on there, but here is the first moment of this video. All of these upgrades when it comes to the chassis, we've been waiting all these races for the chassis upgrades. We've got a front wing downforce upgrade, we've got a tyre wear upgrade for the roll dampers as well. So yeah, technically we could be having a B-spec car, but as you can see, we have got that, we've got the roll dampers upgrade there, we've got the weight redistribution upgrade, the energy store cells positioning, that will be coming if we have enough resource points after the Singapore Grand Prix. We can do the ERS, the engine cooling upgrade. I think that will help with the ERS. The roll dampers upgrade, that is onto the car, and we are pretty much in a fight with Aston Martin, and also I think that's the RBs for 5th place as far as the best of the rest. The energy store cells positioning upgrade, we don't have enough resource points, but we do have the rear floor under tray upgrade that will help with just the weight reduction, and there is confirmation of the aerodynamics. I think it was a rear downforce upgrade and also a MGUH durability upgrade, so we are nearly there as far as the resource points is concerned. I think next aerodynamics upgrade that we're going to do is the front wing flap upgrade to give us more front downforce. However, we don't really need downforce anymore, we only just need to work on the chassis. However, you might have noticed there, I think it's in the next video, there is a regulation change that is going to be taking place for Season 2, which does focus on the chassis and also the powertrain as well. So it looks like we're going to have to save up a lot of our resource points to try and focus on Season 2 when that eventually begins. We don't have enough resource points to get that front downforce upgrade. We are, I think, under 100 points to get that one, and there's no upgrades to do. There's nothing really left. As you can see, I'm just trying to see what I can do. The reshaped combustion chamber, that's for the fuel, we'll do that one just to get some resource points out the way. However, it's a track I don't really like in the F1 games, the Singapore Grand Prix, and I haven't done the intro for it. We're going to get straight into qualifying here. About practice, obviously this is the first time I'm doing this track with no lines, so it did take me a couple of laps to get used to, and as you can see, first lap at 28.9, which puts us in last place, 18th place on the grid with just under a minute to go. So in order to get a top 10 or a low top 10, we have to pretty much make up 8 attempts in this lap. Track evolution is quite notorious around here, so hopefully if we get a good lap together, maybe we can get the perfect lap. Braking turn 1 at the black box there, really go a little bit deep in towards turn 1, 2 and also 3, a little bit wide on turn 3, but we do gain a 10.5, so that is pretty much good. At the end of the curve, brake for turn 4, and now you're pretty much on to the flat out straight on the rundown 5 is flat out clearly in towards 6. We are just over 3 times up. Break again at the 100 meter board. Kissed apex there on the left hand side, and now the track starts to become a little bit more technical and more narrow. We lost a 10th there on the exit, but yeah, we pretty much start to gain some of the time back in sector 2. We've got a McLaren ahead of us in towards the bridge, the Anderson Bridge. This narrow complex of corners there, it's very hard to, well, not very hard to get it right. We go a little bit wide though on the hairpin on the exit of the Anderson Bridge. However, we gain 0.02 of a second, so we're 5.5 times up with only 1.5 sectors to go. And as you can see, once again, we're now 2 temps up on the exit. So I think with this setup really gives us amazing traction out to slow speed corners. Braking for this corner here, we go a little bit wide on the exit there. We're going to try and go as close to the wall as we can. We do lose a 10th as we enter the final corner, turning a little bit tight there, lose a 10th, and we cross the line just on the 5.5 temps up. So that is a 28.3, and it puts us 15th place. Believe it or not, wow, 15th place. I wasn't really the best lap, I have to be honest, and as you can see, Gasly does a 27.9, so it's a rarity in this series that Pierre Gasly outqualifies us. And as you can see, Daniel Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, we're starting at the back around Singapore. It's not looking good, bruv.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. Things have changed slightly around the Marina Bay circuit, with 4 corners removed between turns 16 and 19. It means the lap length is now just over 3 miles, and that might come as a welcome relief to the drivers, and more especially their brakes. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Sainz, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Gasly, Albon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Thomas, Joe, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Sargent, and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me for the first time this season here in the commentary box, Naomi Schiff. Hello, Gnomes. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say, they've got the better of them more often than not. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Well, the race is certainly not won in the first lap, let alone turn 1. However, what you can do is prepare yourself ahead of time. Visualize what could potentially happen, different scenarios and where you could place your car. And that will better prepare you to make the right decision with instinctive timing.
It's all about the start in this race today. If we get a good start, we could really make up a couple of positions and maybe challenge for a low-end top 10 in today's race. Strategy is, of course, going to be a one-stop from the mediums to the hards. There is the strategy. Setup-wise, I'm going to go 1 click down on the rear wing just to help me with rotation in slow-speed corners and also try and make us a little bit more competitive in a straight line with straight line speed. So I'm trying to see if I can do a 2-stop, because obviously fresh tyres around Singapore is quite the play around here, and I'm trying to just mess with the strategy, maybe go double medium soft or double soft medium, or maybe a soft medium soft. I'm just trying to be a little bit creative, but as you can see, we lose 12 seconds with the best alternative strategy, and everyone else is on the medium tyres, so there's really no point in pretty much doing a 2-stop.
The formation lap gets underway, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right and which ones have got it horribly wrong?
So here we go, getting ready for the Singapore Grand Prix, a track that I don't really race on in these career mode videos. However, we're going to try and score points. Away we go in Singapore. Decent start there for Daniel Ricciardo and also Alex Albon. Gasly's also had a good start as we go in towards turn 1. And yet we're not going to make any positions in P13. Yuki Tsunoda had a grid penalty, which has promoted us from P15 to 14 as we overtake both Albon and also Ricciardo heading in towards turn 4. So we've already made a couple of positions, and now we're going to try and overtake our teammate, and he's had a stinker of a start. And we've made 5 positions as Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton go side by side in towards turn number 6. We're going to try and do a switchback once, but Hamilton gets a good exit, try switch back again maybe, but there's just no way through, and Hamilton and Piastri still going side by side in towards this corner, and again there's just no real room to try and go for, and Piastri just gets a good enough exit, and we're going to have to hold back on the McLaren for now. However, we are in a decent position in P10, and the aim I'd say for the first 7, 8, 9 laps is just to get familiar with this track. I did some practice yesterday with no line, and pretty much, not really as confident as I would be with a Spa or a Silverstone or even a Spain, maybe. I think this is one of the most difficult tracks on the F1 game. It was hard enough without the with the chicane, but now with it being removed for last season, it's slightly more easier. However, we're going to come and cross the line here on lap 1, and we are now in 9th place. Can we try and maybe get Oscar Piastri? We get a purple sector 3, but obviously that is pretty much standard for everyone as we go in towards turn 3. And Piastri does get a bit of a slow exit coming out of turn 3, so maybe if we get a good run onto him in towards turn 4, we could actually try and make this overtake work. He has DRS on Lewis Hamilton, of course. The McLaren is quicker than the Alpine. However, we will try and go down the inside of the McLaren in towards turn 6, go a little bit wide, force him wide, and there we go. We are into P9 in this race, so it's looking good so far as there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I don't know who that's for. Is that for a Mercedes? I'm not really sure. Doesn't really say. Maybe a Red Bull, an RB. I'm not sure. It's Sergio. No, it's Carlos Sainz. Sainz is slowing down, and I think Carlos Sainz has a bit of an engine issue as we go on board with the replays there. And as you can see, he makes contact. Wow. He made contact with Lewis Hamilton. Okay, so Hamilton just exits the corner and tries to take the racing line. Sainz turns in for the corner, and they just made contact. I think Hamilton might have side pod damage. Entering now lap number 4, and we've got another yellow flag. Is this for Carlos Sainz? No, it's for Fernando Alonso, who has an actual engine failure, smoke all over the track, and that is not good for Fernando Alonso, as Aston Martin's season is going from bad to worse in this F124 Alpine to Glory Career Mode Series. Now on the exit of lap number 8, and we've passed an objective, avoid the engine temperatures staying above 138 degrees. We've done that because we're in clear air and the engine won't be overheating, so that's a good start. We are pretty much maintaining our pace towards Pierre Gasly. However, Gasly is getting ambushed by Oscar Piastri for 8th place. So my goal in this race, there was a couple of laps where I think it was like 2 or 3 laps where I just didn't have good laps. I was constantly missing corners, and I was like down on my personal best by like 7 tenths. So I decided for now to let Pierre Gasly go by, and that way I have a bit of a distance, and also I have DRS, and also I have a reference as far as braking and stuff, and also it can also help me to break away from Daniel Ricciardo. However, coming onto lap 14, my pit window is on lap 15, and with my objective being to overtake Pierre Gasly before lap 18, I'm going to come in and do an undercut. Now, if you noticed, Sebastian Vettel did this exact same strategy back in 2019 against his teammate Charles Leclerc, and we all know how powerful the undercut is around Singapore and how overpowered it is on F1 24 in general. So all we need to do is make sure we don't make any mistakes, and hopefully we get a bit of a gap window of 2 or maybe even 3 laps to maybe make the distance. So as you can see, we are coming out now, we are the first ones out, and we're going to be last place, so we're pretty much pulling the trigger first of all as far as pulling this undercut on Oscar, on Pierre, and even maybe if Hamilton stays out long enough, maybe even Lewis Hamilton. So we were, what, 9 temps behind Pierre Gasly on when we came in. So hopefully if we get 2 decent laps on this start-finish straight, we should maybe jump Pierre Gasly. As you can see, there's Magnussen, Albon, Hamilton is boxed, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any undercut from Lewis Hamilton. However, the gap between us and Lewis is now, what, just under 4 seconds. But Hamilton has overtaken Logan Sargent, and Sargent is now boxing with Zhou Guanyu, and also Pierre Gasly. There's Stroll, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, there's Gasly, Piastri coming out the box right now. We've jumped Oscar, we've jumped Pierre Gasly, and that is P7 officially in the Singapore Grand Prix, and the gap is 4.5 seconds. Wow. 4.5 seconds as we hit the wall there on the exit of turn number 4. It's nearly 5 seconds towards Oscar Piastri, and that's crazy. That is crazy. We were literally 7 tenths behind Pierre Gasly. We have made 4.3 seconds in the span of 2 laps. That is how crazy the undercut is on F1 24 around Singapore. So if you're doing a league race around Singapore, then the mediums to hard strategy is the one, and clearly doing a 1-lap undercut can really gain you time around here. However, we do run into some issues on lap 23. As you can see, I have not judged my fuel correctly. We are now down to 0.51 with 7 laps to go. So we have entered a race where I'm going to try and save some fuel, round about 0.05 to maybe 1 laps of fuel, as we make a bit of a mess up there of turn number 6. And we have to back out of pretty much that exit. We go a little bit wide on lap 27, and this is now the chance for Oscar Piastri to try and overtake us for P7 in the Singapore Grand Prix. He's going to go around the outside, but we're going to force him wide in towards the wall. Obviously, not intentional to try and put him in the wall, but he backs out anyway. But as you can see, Pierre Gasly has now overtaken the McLaren, and it is now an Alpine 7-8 with only 4 laps to go. So that is great news for the team. Teamwork at its finest, and yeah, that was literally the race. Nothing else happened after that. Gasly was closing in, however he wasn't really making a charge to try and get DRS or anything until like the last lap or 2, but we were comfortable, we held our ground, and in Singapore it's a 7-8 for the Alpine team. Not a bad job.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
Well, that's 2 wins in a row for them now. That's really going to help them gain confidence and start to build that momentum that they're really going to be looking for.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So just like at Monza, he wins in Singapore, does Charles Leclerc, and he closes the gap towards Max Verstappen and the World Championship as well. With now 4 races to go in this Alpine to Glory Season 1. Lando Norris back on the podium and Verstappen in second place. For us, it was a good race. We started P15, we had a good start, we jumped Alex Albon and also Daniel Ricciardo, and with the retirements of Fernando Alonso and I think Carlos Sainz, we were able to make up 2 extra positions, and we found ourselves in that gap between Gasly and Piastri. We undercut both of them, we gained P7, and as you can see at 30.9, yeah, we were 2 times slower than our teammate, but we were still quicker than pretty much every single driver behind us. The gap is now 16 points in the championship between Leclerc and Verstappen. With 4 races to go, we're still 4th in the Drivers' Championship, believe it or not. So if we finish ahead of Norris and Leclerc and Verstappen DNFs a couple more races, we could actually be within a chance to win the Drivers' Championship. However, it's unlikely. We're in Alpine. There's no way we're going to try and win the Drivers' Championship in a very dramatic way. Ratings rivalry with Yuki Tsunoda drawing at 81. We need to win that rivalry so that we can get to 83 rating. Racecraft up to 72 and Focus up to a 78. Recognition, nothing's really changed as far as the recognition is concerned, still 43%, and yeah, I don't know how you can improve your recognition. I think it might be with secret meetings and stuff. Level 0 on the power unit, consultant, and advancements to strategy and also the material planner on level 1. But that is episode 12 of the F124 Alpine to Glory Career Mode series, a double points finish in Singapore. Great result for me, great result for the team as we head in towards the end of season number 1. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave like, share, comment, and subscribe for more F124 Alpine to Glory content, and I'll see you all in the next video in a bit.